Hey guys, welcome back. It's Neon, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Vic Mignogna situation. Actually, we could be looking at what the future of Vic Mignogna is by looking at the current situation with actor Geoffrey Rush and the situation with Winnie the Pooh voice actor Jim Cummings. Both of whom have situations that were somewhat similar to Vic Mignogna's. Before I get started with the video, please subscribe to CLOWNFISH TV if you haven't already. It definitely helps the channel grow. Hit the bell for notifications. YouTube has been randomly unsubscribing people from channels. Make sure you're still subscribed. Absolutely helps us. And thank you so much to those of you who have subscribed this week. It's definitely given us a boost. So, those of you who watch the channel are probably familiar with the situation with Vic Mignogna, very famous, well, in anime circles, very famous voice talent who has come under fire for alleged misbehavior of the sexual nature, allegedly getting too touchy-feely with underage girls. Again, allegedly. We haven't seen a lot of actual evidence of any wrongdoing, at least over here at CLOWNFISH TV. What we have are a bunch of stories, Twitter gossip, and there really hasn't been like a smoking gun yet. So Vic was let go from Funimation. He was let go from Rooster Teeth. A lot of conventions canceled appearances because, you know, once these things, once the rumor mill starts up, you know, a lot of companies just sever ties because they don't want to be bothered. But apparently the rabbit hole goes pretty deep with the Vic Mignogna situation, and there's supposedly some evidence out there of collusion with Funimation employees, sort of a plot to get Vic, I guess, is sort of what seems to have gone on. And now Vic is suing Funimation, one of his former employers, and a couple of Funimation voice actors for defamation, for wrongdoing, because they started the rumors, apparently, that led to his getting terminated, that have ruined his reputation, made it harder for him to get work in his industry. So that's sort of the recap of what's going on. There's a lot of details. This story is really bizarre. I mean, you can't make up some of the stuff going on, the shenanigans going on behind the scenes. But, you know, in a very similar vein, Geoffrey Rush, you know, respected actor Geoffrey Rush just won a record $2.9 million defamation payout. He won his defamation case, and his case is somewhat similar to Vic Mignogna's. There was a lot of rumor, a lot of scuttlebutt, some stuff on social media, and he wound up winning $2.9 million. Now, as I understand it, Vic Mignogna is going to be suing some other parties who have apparently not been named yet. If I had to guess, I would say one of them may potentially be Anime News Network, which did run a few articles on Vic, and they've sort of been stoking the fire, the anti-Vic sentiment for years now. And, you know, they misused photos. They misused photos of his fans to bolster their position that he's getting too touchy-feely with underage fans. And, you know, Anime News Network is pretty well connected in the dub industry and the anime, the American anime industry. We could be looking at the future of Vic Mignogna if he does win his case. This, you know, there are a lot of parallels here with Geoffrey Rush. So let's look at this. This was actually sent to us by a viewer, Michael Bomer. Thank you very much, Michael. This is coming from an Australian news source. Geoffrey Rush awarded a record $2.9 million defamation payout. Actor Geoffrey Rush has been awarded $2.9 million after winning his high-profile defamation case against a Sydney newspaper publisher. Oh, so you mean the media can be sued for making these sorts of accusations? Justice Michael Wigney in April found the Daily Telegraph's publisher, Nationwide News, and journalist Jonathan Moran were reckless regarding the truth when they reported Rush had been accused of inappropriate behavior during a Sydney theater production of King Lear. So the journalist was oh, that's interesting. So the journalist was also found guilty in this too. The judge found a poster and 2 articles contained several defamatory meanings, including that Rush was a pervert and a sexual predator, but the publisher hadn't proven they were true. Sounds familiar. Justice Wigney at the time awarded the Oscar winner $850,000 in damages plus $42,000 interest for non-economic loss, but wanted to further consider special damages for lost earnings. Following an agreement between the parties, the judge on Thursday awarded Rush a further $1.98 million for past and future economic loss. This is important, right? Rush's barrister, Sue, and I'm sorry I can't pronounce her last name, said on Thursday Rush had offered in early 2018 to settle in exchange for an apology and $50,000 plus costs, but Nationwide News didn't respond. So Geoffrey Rush, right, said, hey, give me 50 grand and an apology and we will call it even. No. You, sir, are an awful person, and we as the People's News, we're going to tell everybody how awful you are. We're going to double down, and so people understand that you are an awful person. And guess what? They lost. This could be the future of what happens in the Vic Mignogna case should he win, because he's not just going to. I mean, he might ask to settle with Funimation or whoever else he's suing, but you have to realize, like, Vic's career has been damaged, and if he is innocent, if there's no proof that he has done anything wrong, if people were just kind of colluding and they were out to get him because they didn't like him, for whatever reason, that's not enough to say the guy's actually a sexual predator, and he might walk away with millions of dollars, or at least $1 million, because, Vic is in his 50s, his career is damaged. He's looking at his retirement years in another decade or so. So yeah, he might actually wind up walking away with a pretty good chunk of change if he wins. I'm just saying this is a possibility, and we do have a precedent for this. Also with, Jim Cummings, he's in a very messy divorce right now, and apparently he's won custody of his 2 daughters, but there's been a restraining order placed on both Mr. Cummings and his ex-wife, and this has been a really nasty situation, but he was awarded custody of his daughters, and again, his wife was saying that, he was doing all this stuff, and the judge said otherwise, like, we can't find proof. So regardless of what you think of Vic, and people talk, they've got stories. Some people claim that they've had negative experiences with Vic that were not harassment, but they just didn't like his attitude. They don't like his religious beliefs or political beliefs. So, when stuff like this happens, it's hard to be really objective. If you don't like somebody, if you already don't like somebody for whatever reason, confirmation bias comes into play, and you're going to be like, oh yeah, of course Vic did this because I hate that guy. It doesn't mean he actually did it, but just like, oh yeah, he's a jerk, I don't like him, I hate that guy, so yeah, he probably did it. And that's just, you cannot view things that way, because you have to have some proof, you have to have some actual evidence that he actually did stuff that's wrong. As far as him, hugging or standing next to underage girls, if he's guilty of that, if that is, a crime, then like 3/4 of the anime industry, the voice actors in the anime industry, are also guilty of the same thing. So, it's just a wild situation. We did a video the other day on a Tumblr blog that was being used as quote unquote evidence. It had a bunch of stories about Vic, and that blog, Dear Vic Mignogna Horror Stories, has gone missing. It's been wiped from the internet. We have no idea why it's been wiped from the internet, who wiped it. It's just gone. And this was actually being used as quote unquote evidence by some of the Funimation voice actors as to, you know, sort of a public record of Vic's wrongdoing. The problem with this is anybody could contribute. You have no idea. I mean, for all you know, I mean, it's unlikely, but you could have, you know, the same 3 or 4 people pretending to be 20 people writing stories with no substantiation whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, where it stands right now, there's going to be a court case as far as I know, and we'll see where Vic is and let the courts decide whether or not he's guilty or innocent. But if he does win, we could be looking at a situation like this where, you know, some people are going to have to eat crow and they're going to be a little poorer. Their pockets are going to be a little lighter because they had to double down. And that is that. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe to Clownfish TV if you haven't already for more pop culture news, views, rants, gaming videos, and more. This has been Neon. I'll talk to you later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.